There we go. Took a second to get you fully promoted.
All good.
Yep.
Okay,
And we are being recorded, so you're all set to go. We were in executive session and
we are now out of executive session.
Yep.
Okay, and we are reporting coming out of executive session that we will be making the following recommendations onto the full council. First, we will be recommending the reappointment of the full list of folks who are willing to continue to serve and be reappointed on our committees. Clint, that is attached to the council, will be attached to the council agenda, correct?
Yep.
I don't need to read that full list of reappointment
Nope,
names.
it's already in the
correct?
packet.
Great, thank you. We are also recommending for the planning board that council consider the appointment of John Quinn. For the Board of Appeals, that council consider the appointment of Jamie Ballinger, Stephen Cousineau, and Christine Hakala. Pardon if I'm not sure on Christine's last name, if it's Hakala or Hakola. We are also recommending that council consider for the Board of Assessment Review the appointment of Christine Hakala as a regular member and Jamie Ballinger and Stephen Cousineau as associate members. We are further recommending that council consider for the Personnel Board of Appeals, the appointment of Mark Haggerty and Stephen McKay. We are recommending that for the Trails Committee, council consider the appointment of Jamie Ballinger. For the Voter Registration Appeals Board, we are recommending a consultation with the town clerk and that this committee reconsider applications in our next meeting in May, correct, Clint?
Yep.
And for the Library Board of Trustees and the DEIB committee, there are multiple applications for positions available in those committees. And we are recommending that each of those committees, the Library Board of Trustees and the DEIB committee, review those applications themselves and provide a recommendation back to council. I believe that is the full list. Have I missed anything?
Don't think so.
Okay,
Got it.
great. Okay. So that resolves our discussion of committee slates moving forward. We also have indicated that not for this round, but I think as a committee, we would like to sort of review the appeals boards and whether we will develop some sort of conflict of interest statement going forward, correct? For those appeals boards? That'll be for next year, not this year. Okay. Anything else as far as committee appointments that we need to talk about before we move on our agenda?
I think we're good.
Okay, great. So the other item that was on our agenda for today was to begin taking a look at the policy regarding proclamations and resolutions. So the committee got a markup copy to take a look at possible alterations to the proclamation and resolutions guideline. Do I have screen share capability right now, Clint?
You're a panelist, so I would think so.
Okay, I can screen share the markup version, or if everyone has it in front of them, that's also fine. It came in an email from me. I'm not sure, was it also attached to the packet by Amanda, the markup version, or just the existing text? I'll just screen share it. It's
Okay.
fine.
If you can't, just give me quick. I can promote you one other level.
I think I can.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Everyone able to see it? Are you good, Rob? Can you see it? Okay, great. So some of these marks at the beginning are just simple questions. I didn't make any suggested language changes. I just highlighted areas that we might want to take a look at. The first thing is we don't actually by council, we only have the ability by charter and ordinance to act by order, ordinance, or resolve. We don't actually have the ability to act by proclamation. So our proclamations are actually resolves. They're all worded, be it here, they're hereby resolved that the Orono Town Council proclaims, right? I suspect that this language proclamation is here because it's more understandable to the general public. I'm guessing that's why it's written this way. I'm not sure if we said what a council resolve is, that would make as much sense to someone on the street who's not following town government as a council proclamation probably makes more sense. So I'm guessing that's why this language is here, but I just wanted to highlight it for us. Are we all comfortable with it continuing to say proclamations and resolutions while understanding that technically we act by resolve? Comfortable? Rob is nodding. Okay. Okay. So I highlighted another couple of questions I had. So, this is important that council's voice is reserved for important matters. That we're not looking to make proclamations, resolutions left and right. It just does say proclamations and resolutions will only be adopted after ample discussion. So highlighting this, that's here for us as we go forward and look at the process we're developing. I'm not sure, what is ample discussion is obviously open to interpretation. But it is something here that I wanted us to be aware of as we look at the bottom part. The next part highlighted says, the following proclamations and resolutions will be exempt from the need for ample council discussion, is what it's being exempted from, right? So this is number 2. So, and it says recognition of annual events that town council has previously supported. That's item I. That one makes total sense to me. The next one says actions taken as a perfunctory event to directly support operations. I have no idea what kind of proclamation this might be. I looked through our list of proclamations and resolutions that have been passed on our website, and I can't find anything that I don't even know what this would mean. So this is a question to Clint. Like, what in the world would be a resolution that was perfunctory to directly support operations? Can you think of such a thing?
Hmm.
I,
I've
I,
only been here 9 months, 10 months, so I'm trying to think though, what would be something simple that we do that there would be
a resolve about. I just can't. I mean, it would typically be an order or anyhow.
yeah, I guess maybe, Arbor Day, is out there. Would
Right.
staff come through forward with no discussion and just say, can we have a proclamation supporting Arbor Day because we're a tree city?
Yeah.
And, that's the off the cuff, that's the quickest I could come up with it. Council
Right.
would say, yeah, we're sorting a resolve because it's Arbor Day. Or, voter registration day, because I think there is something out there where we support all the people to go out and get registered as voters. Well, we do register everybody to vote. It's something we have to do. And having a quick resolve to say, hey, we support this is very perfunctory to the role of being the registrar of voters. That's all I could think of, though. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of
Yeah.
something innocuous.
Those are good
Yeah.
examples.
And go ahead, Rob.
I was just saying those are good examples.
Yeah, but they also both fall under item I, which is annual events, right? We already have Arbor Day, we already have voter
Oh, sure.
registration. Um, so they both also are already covered by item I. So I think
Hmm.
Clint, and we're obviously not going to finish our discussion on this today because we're 5 minutes from the end of the meeting. But maybe you want to ask staff if they can think of an example that would not fall into category I, that's an annual event, but would somehow fall into category II. Maybe it needs to be there, but honestly, I found it very confusing. I was like, what would this be? So if we think we need it, it's great. And if we don't, maybe we want to get rid of it, just highlighted.
Well,
Maybe that's a question. Go ahead, Rob. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I mean, I think it is the examples of what this could be seem few and far between, and most fall under the umbrella much more easily under I. But I could see like a new event or something that has an impact on, say, a grant or something for staff, like an Arbor Day thing. If that was the first time we were doing it, I think it makes sense there, even if it's not a recognition of uh, an event that's been ongoing. It might make sense to I mean, I can't think through the specifics, but I could see something like that if it was the first time being useful.
Okay.
And so
So
the,
that seems, we'll just leave it alone. I just wanted to highlight that I wasn't sure what it meant. So good
and am
discussion.
I right to read though that 2A is number 2 is an agenda item. Anything under A would be consent calendar kind of mindset, right?
That the resolution itself could come through on the consent calendar?
Yeah, maybe. I'm kind of
Sure.
reading that because it's just
Yeah, it's being exempted from the requirement for
Of
discussion,
ample
basically.
discussion, yeah, so it
Right,
probably sounds
right.
like it's consent calendar, yeah,
So
okay.
it could come through that way. Yeah, I think that's true. And people can always pull something off the consent calendar. So,
Yep.
you know, that's never a problem if someone, counselor or member of the community wants it pulled off. So, yep, I think that's true. Okay, great. That helped me to understand that part. I'm looking at time and I'm just going to scroll us down briefly to the bottom and then we're going to wrap up and return to this next month. So when we get into the procedure section, this is where I have attempted to kind of go to what seemed to be the overall intent of the previous policy, which was to get the item for consideration before the whole council as soon as possible. Previously, the Council Community Development Committee was the entire council. When this policy was written, all councilors served on all committees. And so I rewrote this to say it would come before the full council since that is what it was doing before. I did take a little bit of time to talk with our council chair about it to be sure, you know, what vision he had. I think the question we're going to need to take a look at is I would prefer that this not, we built a model where as a council, we said we don't want our committees to be gatekeepers, you know, sort of controlling what gets to council discussion. So it would not make sense with those NECAP recommendations to put it through a community development process before it could even get to a council discussion. We had agreed as a council, we would do the reverse. Things would come to council and then they can be referred elsewhere if council wants to refer them elsewhere. So I rewrote this trying to keep that in mind and to follow that NECAP recommendation. And as you read it before next month, you will also see that because we also, I think, are becoming concerned that committees not get too jammed up with work that they can move efficiently to. This is an alternative idea that instead of something being referred to council, council might have the option to vote yes on a proposed proclamation, to vote no, or to say, we generally like this idea, but we think it needs work. And in that case, a councilor would need to volunteer to work with the individual or group that submitted it to do that work and bring it back. So this is an alternative model, not saying it had to go to a full committee, that if any one councilor was willing to volunteer to do that work, that could be done and brought back. This was an idea that had been proposed by the council chair a while back in another context. So I had the idea to bring it forward and say, okay, it could work here as a way to do this. So we'll return to this next month in our discussion. Is there any quick question anyone has right now on this draft or anything else before we adjourn and return next month?
Nope.
Anything from you, Clint, before we adjourn?
No, I'm just taking a note over here on it.
Okay, great. It's nice to see you guys. And it sounds like next month we'll probably have perhaps some more details to discuss on appointments to committees. And then we will hopefully delve right into this and have a recommendation we can make on this policy to get on to council. We're progressing along on our tasks.
Great. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Nice to see you all.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.